The detail that often makes women over 50 look older than they truly are isn't wrinkles, it's hair color. You can apply every skincare routine, wear the right makeup, even choose flattering clothes, but if your hair color no longer harmonizes with your skin tone, the entire face can appear tired and weighed down. That doesn't mean you've lost beauty. It means the shade you've trusted for years may no longer serve you. This is why professional colorists emphasize the power of choosing tones that reflect light, soften facial features, and restore vibrancy. The right hair color after 50 can create the same effect as a great night's sleep or the perfect foundation. It brightens the complexion, smooths the overall impression, and projects confidence. The wrong shade, on the other hand, can deepen shadows, highlight lines, and age you instantly. In today's video, I will walk you through 5 hair colors that consistently deliver remarkable results for women in midlife and beyond. Each option has been tested in salons, proven in real life, and refined to work with the natural changes of mature hair and skin. These are not passing trends. They are timeless strategies to look younger, fresher, and more radiant without trying to be someone you are not. And here is something you'll want to remember. The 5th color on this list has quickly become one of the most loved choices among women across the United States. It doesn't attempt to hide age. Instead, it transforms it into a striking advantage. Stay with me until the end. You may discover a shade that completely reshapes the way you see yourself in the mirror. Soft chocolate brown. Soft chocolate brown has become one of the most flattering choices for women over 50, not because it is trendy, but because it works in harmony with the natural changes that come with age. This warm, medium brown has the ability to soften facial features, brighten the complexion, and blend gracefully with incoming gray. Unlike jet black or overly dark shades that demand constant touch-ups and often exaggerate fine lines, chocolate brown grows out seamlessly, reducing the need for frequent maintenance while keeping the overall look polished. According to the Professional Beauty Association 2023, nearly 65% of women over 50 report that deep, dark colors make them look older than they feel. The reason lies in undertone and light reflection. As skin matures, it tends to lose natural warmth and elasticity. Dark, flat shades absorb light, making the skin appear dull, while chocolate brown reflects a golden warmth that restores vibrancy. For women with warm undertones, olive, golden, or beige, this color creates balance and radiance. For those with cooler skin, a stylist may recommend weaving in caramel or chestnut highlights to prevent the face from looking ashy. I worked with a client named Linda, age 63, who had been dyeing her hair black since her 30s. She believed it made her look youthful, but over time the color cast shadows on her face and emphasized lines she wished were less noticeable. Her daughter convinced her to try chocolate brown with subtle golden undertones. The transformation was striking. Her husband told her she looked like the woman he married, and Linda admitted she felt softer, happier, and more herself. My own experience echoed hers. After nearly 3 decades of coloring my hair a deep brown black, I switched to chocolate brown at 57. The difference was immediate. Colleagues asked if I had started a new skincare routine, when in fact nothing had changed except the tone of my hair. The color lifted my complexion and gave me back a sense of lightness that had been missing. Have you ever noticed your dark hair making you look more severe than you would like? Would you be open to exploring a softer brown that still feels natural but creates a more luminous effect? These are the questions many women begin to ask themselves when they realize their old routine is no longer serving them. Fashion is another area where this shade shines. Chocolate brown pairs beautifully with neutral clothing in beige and camel, creating a refined and timeless look. It also complements richer tones such as burgundy, which can elevate the overall appearance to one of quiet sophistication. I remember wearing a camel sweater just days after coloring my hair chocolate brown. A friend remarked that I looked 10 years younger, not because of the outfit alone, but because the hair color and clothing worked in harmony. Modern Salon Magazine, 2022, reported that 73% of women over 50 want a hair color that feels modern yet requires less upkeep. Chocolate brown delivers exactly that balance. It is soft without being boring, polished without being high maintenance, and forgiving enough to let gray strands integrate naturally. If you were to try chocolate brown, which wardrobe palette would you choose first? Would you lean toward the understated elegance of camel and beige, or would you step into the bold sophistication of burgundy? What makes this color even more valuable is how it serves as a foundation. Many women who start with chocolate brown soon feel ready to experiment with something a little brighter. Once they see the benefits of softness and warmth, they often begin to crave dimension and light. This is the perfect transition into the next option, caramel highlights, a subtle yet powerful way to add movement, depth, and a touch of youthful glow. Caramel highlights. Caramel highlights have a unique way of bringing hair back to life, especially for women over 50 who feel their hair has started to look flat or heavy. This warm golden tone doesn't require a full transformation. Even a few ribbons of caramel placed strategically around the face can brighten the entire expression. Unlike a dramatic change of color, highlights create dimension, movement, and the illusion of thicker hair, exactly what many women begin to miss as their hair naturally becomes finer with age. Research from the American Academy of Dermatology shows that nearly 50% of women notice some degree of hair thinning by their mid-50s. Flat, single-tone hair color can accentuate that thinning. Caramel highlights solve this problem visually by catching light, scattering it across the hair shaft, and creating depth where none existed. The result is hair that appears fuller, healthier, and more youthful. One of my clients, Susan, age 58, had worn a medium brown shade for decades. She resisted highlights because she thought they were too trendy and better suited for younger women. With some encouragement, she agreed to try a few soft caramel pieces blended into her mid-lengths and framing her face. The difference was immediate. Her friends told her she looked brighter and more approachable, and Susan herself admitted she hadn't felt so refreshed in years. That simple change gave her the courage to experiment more with her style overall. Highlights also have an emotional effect. When light plays across the hair, it lifts not only the face but also the mood. Many women describe feeling as though someone had turned the lights back on after adding caramel tones. I've experienced this personally. When I first tried highlights in my late 50s, I noticed my eyes seemed to sparkle more, and people kept asking if I had been on vacation. In truth, it was just the golden warmth around my face. Stylists often recommend pairing caramel highlights with layered cuts. Layers help distribute the lighter pieces throughout the hair, adding movement and enhancing the three-dimensional effect. If you've ever looked in the mirror and thought your hair seemed heavy or shapeless, the combination of layers and highlights can completely change that impression without sacrificing length. Another advantage is versatility. Caramel can be subtle, just a sun-kissed glow, or more pronounced for women who want a noticeable shift. It works beautifully on brunettes, dark blondes, and even blends with gray, softening the contrast and creating harmony. Modern Salon magazine reported in 2022 that women with highlights were 40% more likely to describe their hair as full of life, compared to those with a single shade. That sense of vitality is precisely why this technique remains so popular. Imagine standing by a window with sunlight filtering in. When the light hits caramel highlights, your hair looks as though it is moving even when it's perfectly still. That effect not only changes how others see you, but how you carry yourself. Would you feel more confident walking into a room if your hair caught the light in a way that made your whole face glow? The beauty of caramel highlights is that they don't overwhelm. They enhance what's already there, respecting natural tones while adding subtle sophistication. For women who want to update their look without stepping too far outside their comfort zone, this is often the ideal first step. And once you see how even a few touches of golden light can transform your appearance, you may find yourself ready to explore more playful or artistic options. Rose gold. Rose gold may sound daring at first, but for women over 50, it has become one of the most effective ways to look instantly younger while still remaining sophisticated. This color is not the bright pink of youth. It is a carefully balanced blend of blush, soft copper, and golden undertones. When done correctly, it creates a gentle flush across the face, almost like the effect of natural makeup. and this is why it makes such a dramatic difference in appearance. Dermatology research shows that as we age, skin gradually loses its rosy undertones, often appearing more sallow or uneven. A well-chosen rose gold shade compensates for that loss. By reflecting a subtle pink warmth, it restores the glow that is associated with vitality. In fact, a 2022 survey by Redbook magazine found that women over 50 who switched to warmer, luminous shades like rose gold were 35% more likely to be described by others as refreshed or youthful. One of my clients, Carol, age 61, had worn light blonde hair for years. She felt it was safe, but it washed her out and made her fine lines more noticeable. Her stylist suggested a muted rose gold glaze layered over her blonde base. The change was immediate. Carol said, "I feel like my skin tone has color again." And her friends told her she looked like she had just returned from a spa retreat. The truth is, the pink warmth of rose gold acted like built-in blush, softening her complexion and drawing attention to her eyes. I experienced something similar myself when I experimented with a rose gold toner in my late 50s. At first I was hesitant. Would it be too bold, too youthful? But the dusty rose shade I chose turned out to be understated yet transformative. My grandchildren told me I looked fun and creative, while my colleagues noticed my eyes looked brighter. What struck me most was that I didn't look like I was trying to hide my age. Instead, I looked like a livelier, happier version of myself. Have you ever felt that your hair color, even if flattering, doesn't fully express your personality anymore? Rose gold is often the answer for women who want to reintroduce playfulness without losing elegance. Would you be willing to try a soft rose tint if it meant people saw you as more vibrant and energetic? The key is tone. A neon pink would feel forced, but a muted blush or dusty rose has the opposite effect. It whispers sophistication. Stylists often apply it as a glaze over lighter hair, or as ombre at the ends for women who are curious but not ready to commit. Because it fades gradually, you can experiment without long-term pressure. Another reason rose gold makes women look younger is its interaction with gray hair. Instead of fighting against silver strands, it blends with them, turning what some see as a challenge into a luminous feature. The effect is like watercolor, soft, shifting, and artistic. I once had a client who described her new rose gold glaze as the color of joy. She explained that for the first time in years, she received compliments not on how well she was aging, but on her style. Stylists note that rose gold pairs beautifully with modern layered cuts and shoulder-length styles. The movement of layers allows the pink and copper tones to catch the light differently, giving the impression of vitality. For fashion, it works surprisingly well with neutral palettes, ivory, soft gray, and taupe, because the hair itself becomes the statement. In a recent industry report, 42% of women over 50 who tried rose gold said they felt it made them look at least 5 years younger. That isn't just vanity. It reflects how the color interacts with both skin and hair texture. Lighter reflections disguise thinning areas, while the warmth restores balance to the face. The most important part is how women feel after making the change. They stand taller, smile more easily, and often rediscover a sense of creativity that they thought was behind them. Looking younger is not only about appearance, it is about the energy you project, and rose gold unlocks that energy in a way few other colors can. For many women, that experience becomes the spark that inspires them to explore even more luminous shades. Options that capture light differently, radiate warmth, and create a glow that feels both timeless and new. Warm honey blonde. Few hair colors have the power to shock people in the best way possible, quite like warm honey blonde. Many women over 50 dismiss blonde tones altogether, fearing they will look washed out or artificial. But here is the truth. When chosen correctly, honey blonde doesn't make you look older. It makes people stop, stare, and ask, "What did you do? You look incredible." That kind of reaction is not an exaggeration. In a 2022 study by Clairol, women over 50 who lightened their hair by just 2 to 3 shades reported a 60% increase in compliments from strangers compared to those who stayed dark. Why? Because honey blonde creates the illusion of youth. It reflects light across the face like a built-in filter, softening lines and instantly lifting the complexion. I remember a client named Marjorie, age 58, who had spent most of her adult life convinced blonde was off limits. After years of deep browns that weighed her down, she reluctantly agreed to try a honey blonde balayage. When she walked out of the salon, her daughter's reaction was priceless. "Mom, you look younger than me." That single sentence left Marjorie laughing and crying at the same time. What makes honey blonde different from icy platinum or cool ash shades is its warmth. Platinum tends to emphasize the loss of pigment in mature skin, highlighting sallowness. Honey blonde, by contrast, casts a golden glow that mimics sunlight, reintroducing vitality. Think of it as carrying your own golden hour lighting wherever you go. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like your face seemed tired, no matter how much sleep you got? Imagine that same reflection illuminated by a soft golden halo. This is the magic of honey blonde. It doesn't just change your hair. It alters the perception of your skin, your eyes, even your smile. Another shocking benefit is the way honey blonde disguises thinning hair. Studies from the American Academy of Dermatology show that by age 60, nearly 2/3 of women notice visible thinning. Dark, solid colors make that loss obvious. Honey blonde, with its reflective quality, creates the illusion of density, making fine strands look thicker and fuller. The result is often so dramatic that clients ask if I secretly added extensions. Personally, when I transitioned from dark tones to honey blonde highlights in my late 50s, I braced myself for judgment. Instead, I was met with disbelief. A colleague pulled me aside and whispered, "You look like you just stepped out of a vacation photo shoot." What struck me most wasn't the compliment itself, but the way I felt, lighter, more vibrant, almost mischievous. It was as if I had discovered a secret no one had told me before. Stylists recommend honey blonde for women who want brightness without the upkeep of high-maintenance blonde. Root shadowing techniques allow darker bases to blend seamlessly, which means fewer salon visits. Even natural silver strands melt beautifully into honey tones, turning what some consider a flaw into an elegant gradient. For fashion, honey blonde opens up an entirely new palette. White suddenly looks crisp instead of harsh. Jewel tones like sapphire or emerald become striking. In warm neutrals, camel, ivory, blush create a radiant harmony. If you've ever felt like certain colors drained you, honey blonde may flip that experience upside down. Would you dare to try a shade that not only brightens your face but makes people question if you've secretly had a lift or a cosmetic procedure? Because that's the kind of reaction honey blonde often gets. It shocks people not because it looks fake, but because it looks unbelievably natural, as though you've turned back the clock without effort. And once women see themselves in this golden light, many realize they are ready for something even bolder. A shade that doesn't just soften or brighten, but redefines gray itself into an expression of confidence and art. Silver with lavender tones. For decades, women were told to hide their gray hair, to fight it with constant coloring and root touch-ups. Yet one of the most powerful and liberating choices for women over 50 today is to do the exact opposite. Embrace silver and elevate it with a subtle lavender tone. This is not about surrendering to age. It is about transforming what was once seen as a weakness into a bold expression of style. Silver hair on its own can sometimes appear flat, even dull. The addition of lavender changes everything. It infuses cool silver strands with a delicate wash of violet, creating shimmer, depth, and movement. Under natural light, the hair glows. Under evening lights, it sparkles like silk. Instead of looking older, women often look more modern, more artistic, and surprisingly youthful. Professional stylists point out that lavender tones are especially flattering for women with neutral or cool undertones. The soft violet counteracts yellowing and natural gray, keeping the color crisp and fresh. Maintenance is easier than most expect. A purple shampoo once a week and a gloss treatment every few months are often enough to keep the look luminous. Compared with the exhausting cycle of root touch-ups every 3 weeks, it feels like freedom. I once worked with Ellen, a retired school principal at 64. She had been coloring her hair dark brown since her 40s, spending hours every month in the salon. Eventually, she confessed she was tired, not just of the process, but of the constant battle against her own roots. When she finally allowed her natural silver to grow in, we added a lavender toner just at the ends. The effect stunned even her. People no longer commented on her age. They complimented her style. Ellen later told me, "It's the most me I've ever felt." Have you ever considered that the very thing you've been trying to hide, your silver, could actually be your strongest feature? Would you feel more confident if people admired your hair not because it looks young, but because it looks intentional, modern, and striking? There is also a deeper psychological shift that happens. Women who embrace silver with lavender often describe feeling lighter, as if they've let go of a burden. No more rushing to cover roots, no more anxiety about whether the color looks natural. Instead, every strand becomes a statement. I am not hiding, I am celebrating. That kind of confidence is magnetic, and ironically, it makes women appear younger, not because of the shade itself, but because of the energy it projects. From a fashion perspective, silver lavender hair works beautifully with contemporary palettes. It pairs effortlessly with black for a bold, sleek look, or with white and soft neutrals for elegance. Jewel tones like amethyst and sapphire seem to echo the lavender undertones, amplifying their brilliance. The hair becomes part of the outfit, an accessory in itself. Industry reports back this up. According to Modern Salon 2023, 38% of women over 60 who transitioned to silver accented with lavender said they received more compliments than at any other time in their lives. It is not about pretending to be younger. It is about being noticed, respected, and admired for style. What makes this shade remarkable is how it reframes aging. Instead of a sign of decline, gray hair becomes a canvas for creativity. Lavender adds intrigue, personality, and courage. And when a woman wears her hair with that kind of confidence, she commands attention in a way no dark dye ever could. For some, this shift is shocking, realizing that the choice they feared most might actually be the one that unlocks their fullest beauty. But once you see how silver and lavender transform dull into dazzling, it becomes clear. Aging is not something to cover up. It is something to design, to sculpt, to wear like art. And it is often at this stage, after discovering the freedom of embracing gray, that women begin to see hair color not as camouflage, but as a tool for self-expression, an idea that changes the way they think about beauty altogether. Hair color after 50 is never just about appearance, it is a declaration of identity. At this stage of life, beauty is not about hiding age, but about transforming it into a signature of strength and individuality. Each of the shades we explored carries its own meaning. Chocolate reflects softness and refinement. Caramel adds light and vitality. Rose gold brings creativity and playfulness. Honey blonde radiates warmth and glow. Silver with lavender stands for freedom and confidence. These are not just colors, they are statements about the woman you choose to be today. Which of these shades speaks to you the most? Have you already tried one, or are you considering making a change now? Share your story in the comments. I would love to hear how color has shaped your confidence. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe. In the next episode, I'll reveal 5 haircut styles designed to slim the face and create an instantly youthful effect. Thank you for spending this time with me. Your journey in beauty and self-expression doesn't end here. It continues with every choice you make. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.